Well, IGN just dropped a new spoiler video for Flesh and Blood, something that I don't think any of us really expected on this wonderful Thursday morning. Not to mention that all of the cards inside of it, as well as the cards that we have seen previously throughout these few weeks, are including the Unity mechanic, as well as a new mechanic called Solflare. Let's take a look at all of these new mechanics and new cards, and let's understand why Unity is the start of PvE for Flesh and Blood. Welcome on in, Dragonfolk. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I know I am. My name is Alex, and you are all here with me in the lair. It's time, right? I woke up this morning, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I was like, okay, well, let's get up, check our phone, right? Just see what's going on in the world of the TCGs and stuff like that. Everybody's complaining about the One Ring and all this other stuff. But then a trailer dropped for IGN. It was the first thing on my Twitter feed. Trailer dropped from IGN for Flesh and Blood, nonetheless, revealing four new cards. Four new cards for Flesh and Blood. As a matter of fact, it's actually technically 5 new cards. I'm not sure where this 5th card came from, but we are going to take a look at all of these things here, and I'm going to continue to tell you kind of a little bit about what Dusk Till Dawn is going to have, as well as what we are consistently seeing. So, back in Everfest, you've even seen cards that kind of affect the whole board, right? Multiple players at once kind of get affected by a certain thing. People get tokens and other people don't get tokens. And you've seen small cards like that throughout the entirety of Flesh and Blood's baseline sets since then, right? And now in Dusk Till Dawn, an expansion set that is coming out in July, we are seeing a huge amount of growth in what could very well possibly be a small little sprinkle of PvE mechanics or player versus environment mechanics. PvE is obviously a huge thing. A lot of people in Flesh and Blood have been waiting for it for a very, very long time. It is something that has truly been sought after from the casual community, and I think it's really going to be the thing that brings the casual community to the top tables of places and really get people into the LGSs without fear of having to not have any good armor or not have any good Majestics or anything of the sort. These cards here, they're not going to serve probably any single amount of play in Classic Constructed or Blitz, but they are going to serve some special thing in PvE. Now, obviously, PvE has not been spoiled yet. There has not been any kind of talk about PvE being confirmed, but with the cards that we are seeing from Dusk Till Dawn and the spoilers that we're getting, I would imagine that we are, in fact, going to be getting some PvE news pretty soon. So let's go ahead and talk about some of these new cards here that we are seeing and go over what happened in this IGN trailer. Now, if you haven't gone and checked out the IGN trailer, I definitely suggest doing so. But we went ahead and found out that there are 5 new cards that were just spoiled. And I'll go over each one of them here. First, we'll go over Solflare. Solflare is a new mechanic that is on all of these Banneret cards. There are 4 Banneret cards. I think only 3 of them are going to be box promos. I'm not sure where this other one is from. But they are called Bannerettes. They're essentially a light warrior action, and they're attacks. So they're light warrior action attacks. And the cool thing about them, though, is that they have a benefit when they're charged. Solflare essentially gives you a benefit for if the card is charged. So you'll take a look at some of the ones here like Banneret of Resilience, Banneret of Salvation, and Banneret of Vigor. These 3 all have that Solflare mechanic, and they all do different things when they are charged. So it is very, very cool that you can see it's kind of a way for, obviously, Light Warrior, right? Because Bolton's the only light warrior that we have, so there's not much else in that regard, but it is cool to see that there are all these Bannerettes that are kind of a big deal. We also have Banneret of Protection. Banneret of Protection is also, again, another Banneret specifically for light warriors. Some of them have 3 attack, some of them have 4 attack. They all block for 3, though, which is really, really good. And in most cases, I assume you're not going to want to attack with these things. These are mainly probably going to be targets for you to charge into your soul in order for you to get those additional bonuses when you're getting go-agains and so on and so forth in Boltyn. So a lot of really crazy Boltyn support through here, which is just wild to see. So for instance, Banneret of Protection, whenever it is charged into your hero's soul, create a Spellbane Aegis token. And then you have the ones from the Buy a Box promos. Banneret of Resilience says when this is charged to your hero's soul, the next action card you defend with this turn gains +1. So there should be a way to get cards into your soul outside of your own turn. The same kind of method happens with Banneret of Salvation, except the next time you hit this turn, you gain 1 life. And then Banneret of Vigor, probably going to be the favorite of most people. When this is charged to your hero's soul, the next time you hit this turn, gain 1 resource. So the life and the resource ones are probably going to be pretty prominent. I'm imagining a lot of people are really, really going to enjoy those. And those are the Bannerettes, right? That's the Solflare mechanic now. So I'm not sure if there's going to be some kind of fancy new Majestic Boltyn support yet. Right now, all of the other Unity cards that we've seen from Flesh and Blood have been for Briar, Oldhim, Lexi, and Dorinthia, and Bravo. So all 5 of those they've gotten new specializations in Dusk Till Dawn, and all of them have a pretty insane effect. But there's one thing that they all share, as well as this new Majestic card that we'll talk about that was just spoiled from IGN, the Unity mechanic. Now, the Unity mechanic is something that is new to Flesh and Blood. It's new to this set. And what it is if you defend with this card and another card from your hand, right? So essentially at least 2 cards, one of them being a card with Unity, you get a Unity effect. And in most cases, it's all based on whatever hero you're playing. So for instance, if you're playing Briar, and you use the Unity ability for there, you defend with 2 cards from hand, one of them being this Unity card, and the other one being any card, right, that you have from hand, you're going to get an embodiment of Earth token. Then you have Bravo, right? Bravo has got his new Unity card, his new Majestic card, his specialization. This card also having that same Unity mechanic, but this time giving a Seismic Surge to everybody, right? Everybody, you can give one to everyone, right? That's the whole purpose behind these Unity mechanics. It's not just one for yourself. It's one for everyone, right? That you want, right? You may give it to somebody. So let's even take a look at Lexi's, right? Lexi's Unity ability here says, when this defends together with a card from hand, create an embodiment of Lightning token under any number of heroes' control. Now, obviously, in a 1v1 situation, you're probably not giving your opponent any of these tokens, because they do give a pretty huge benefit to their game plan. So you're usually only giving them to yourself in these cases. But this is where the thought of PvE comes in, because PvE is, of course, going to have more people. It's you and probably a group of individuals, maybe anywhere between 2 to 4 other people, or 2 to 3 other people, I would imagine, to go against what would be a boss of some sorts. And obviously this isn't fleshed out yet. We don't know much more, but these mechanics are huge. But it wasn't until United We Stand, the new Majestic that IGN just dropped today, that practically confirmed that all of these Unity cards are in fact for PvE, which is still crazy because this is a supplementary set that we are getting for the game, and it doesn't look like any of the cards spoiled so far are actually going to be fairly okay in their actual classic constructed decks, other than maybe Bravo specialization. So let's take a look at United We Stand, the new Majestic from Dusk Till Dawn, a yellow pitch 3-cost light attack action. So only light heroes can use this, for the record. So I'm actually wondering what that's going to be entailed. But United We Stand here, you come in and you attack for 6. So it's a 6 attack, 2 defense. So pretty on rate for that, besides the fact that it costs 3. but its ability states that when this defends together with a card from your hand, if Bolton is in your party, create a courage token under his control. Then repeat for Bravo and Seismic Surge, Briar, an embodiment of Earth, Dorinthia and Courage, Lexi, an embodiment of Lightning, Oldham and Spellbane Aegis, Prism and Spectral Shield, and Shiana as Eloquence. So, what this is showing here is, first and foremost, you see this essentially Avengers-esque picture of all of these heroes of Solana and of Aria. You have all of Aria heroes, all of Solana heroes. Everybody is here fighting for Solana. It's fighting for Sol, right? They're fighting against the Demonastery. And that is the purpose, the lore behind this set is that there's another attack on Solana, and they are, they're defending it, right? So United We Stand is really cool because, again, we need to look into that specific little part there, right? In your party. In your party in this card. Now, there's never been parties. It's not a party mechanic. You're not looking at people in your party. That's just not a thing that you're doing. You're not looking at things in your party. You don't have a party. There's never been a party. There's only ever been just a 1v1 situation and then Ultimate Pit Fight, which is not even party mechanics. It is just 1v3, and you got to hope you do well. So in this case, we are seeing more and more actual definitive cards for the PvE format. And that is really, really amazing because now, really, if we wanted to, either PvE is going to be able to come out within these next few months, right? Maybe there is a lot more stuff in Dusk Till Dawn that is boss cards, right? Cards you can play against and fight. But this is just like the tip of the iceberg, right? We don't know much else about what's going on. And like, obviously, United We Stand, it's just a card that gives out a whole bunch of tokens, right? It doesn't actually do anything besides attack for 6. And honestly, blocking for 2 in a Unity situation still is probably going to leak damage through. So like this card, obviously not for any kind of competitive play. Very much so just for a casual format. And PvE is exactly that. So I'm very excited to check this out and go over all of these Unity cards. Here on the channel, we do like a good amount of casual formats as well as the competitive side of cards as well. But to really see something like PvE flourish in this game is going to be amazing. It's going to be a huge game changer for Flesh and Blood. And I'm genuinely curious to see what it comes for. Like just what happens, right? I'm very curious to see how this blends into the rest of the world. Because obviously, I'd imagine most of the people in the Classic Constructed world have seen these new, these new cards, and they've just gone, oh, they're okay, I guess, right? But this is absolutely amazing. I'm so excited to see cards like this out here. United We Stand, the Unity mechanic. It just goes to show that there is going to be some kind of PvE-centric game in what I would imagine being this year. And if LSS doesn't come out with anything, I'm sure the players will. So it's only a matter of time. Now, the one thing that I do think is a little weird about this one here, and obviously with every other mechanic, I think it's going to be a little interesting. United We Stand is a light action. So because it is a light action, you have to be a light hero in order for you to play it. So the only 2, technically 3, light heroes that we have are, well, and then I guess also maybe Shiana, right? I don't know honestly too much about Shiana, so like don't come at me in the comments, but there are only a few light heroes, right? Prism and Bolton and New Prism, right? There's not much else in the light category. So I'm wondering if there's going to be like, these are cards specifically for those heroes, because it's either that or we are going to get something kind of like Crown of Dominion, but for light heroes, making any of the heroes light. Whatever piece of equipment they have to have, or maybe there's a token that they have that determines them on the side of light. If they're, if they're going to make a PvE format that's based around Solana versus the Demonastery or something of the sort, that they have a light side and a dark side, and you are of that, or light side and shadow side more specifically, that you are of that talent if you're on those sides. So that might be an interesting concept into PvE, but again, I don't know too much about it. I just wanted to go ahead and go over and gush about these cards because they just look so pretty, and I'm so excited to see them played in a PvE format. I hope to cover PvE in a more fleshed out way once we get more information. I would obviously like to wait for the official release of PvE from LSS as opposed to trying to make my own, but I think the perk is that once we have something from LSS, we can obviously tweak it and change things up from our own perspectives once we have a general idea of the boss monster mechanic for the game. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had to make it insanely quick, so I'm sorry if like this all looks disheveled as heck. But I'm very happy to go through all these cards, and I'm telling you, this is just let's even just revel on the fact that IGN made a spoiler video. IGN made a spoiler video for Flesh and Blood. And nobody plays the game, right? Nobody plays the game. Nobody does it. Nobody's playing Flesh and Blood. Nobody's playing it. It's a dead game. It's a dead game. You're never going to get anybody to play Flesh and Blood. It's just not going to happen. I call bullshit. This game is good. This game is running. This game is a well-oiled machine, and it continues to bring out more and more for the players and for the collectors as the game goes on in probably just the smoothest method that we've ever seen. So thank you, LSS, for making such an amazing game. I hope to continue to cover it here for you guys in the near future as we continue on. Looking over Dusk Till Dawn spoilers and going over all this other stuff. And, hey, keep up the good work because you really deserve it. And as for all of you watching this video, thank you guys so much for watching. It does mean a lot. Feel free to let me know what you think about the Unity mechanic and the Solflare mechanic in the comments down below. And then you can also feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. We are inching closer and closer to 1,500 subscribers, which I hope to be doing a giveaway for sometime soon. So make sure to keep your eye out for that. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And I will see you all in the land of Sol. Nerd out.